from an 882-pound leg press tearing Ranieri Lopes Filho's leg apart, to Ryan Crowley's chest ripping under nearly 500 pounds, and Kevin Ogar dropping a bar that smashed into his back and severed his spinal cord. These are the gym disasters that left bodybuilders broken, paralyzed, and changed forever. Number 12. Kevin Ogar. A dropped bar slammed into Kevin Ogar's spine, and in a split second, he lost all movement below his waist. Kevin Ogar was not some random guy walking into a fitness contest for fun. By the time he reached the floor at the OC Throwdown in California, he was already a serious CrossFit athlete and coach, someone who had spent years inside the world of hard training, hard coaching, and high-level competition. He had built his life around strength. People knew him as the kind of athlete who could handle pressure, move serious weight, and teach others how to do the same. Then one lift changed everything. On January 12, 2014, Ogar stepped up for a snatch, one of the fastest and most explosive lifts in the sport. He had done the movement countless times before, but this time, the lift went wrong. As he lost control and bailed, the bar dropped and smashed into his back. In that instant, his T11 and T12 vertebrae separated, his spinal cord was severed, and he was paralyzed from the waist down. The shock of it spread fast. 1 second he was under the bar doing exactly what elite strength athletes do. The next, he could not feel his legs. It became one of the most talked about lifting accidents of that era, and support poured in almost immediately as people across the fitness world rallied around him. But Kevin Ogar did not disappear after the headlines faded. He got back into training, stayed deeply involved in CrossFit, and became one of the strongest voices in adaptive fitness. He went on to become a CrossFit Level 3 trainer, spent years on seminar staff, and helped teach other coaches how to work with adaptive athletes instead of treating them like an afterthought. He also helped build adaptive programming and competitive opportunities for athletes with disabilities. Number 11. Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman did not get broken in one lift. He got broken slowly, under massive weight, until the strongest man on the stage could barely move. For years, people knew him as the man roaring through impossible squats and deadlifts like pain did not exist. Then the image changed. The same bodybuilder who once looked unbreakable has spent recent years moving with crutches, braces, and sometimes a wheelchair, still trying to walk better after surgery after surgery. At his peak, Ronnie was not just another champion. He won 8 straight Mr. Olympia titles from 1998 through 2005, tying the all-time record, and finished with 26 IFBB Pro wins. He was massive, sharp, and stronger than almost anybody thought a bodybuilder needed to be. His training clips became legendary because they looked more like powerlifting than bodybuilding. The 800-pound squat, the 800-pound deadlift. What made it crazier was that during his rise, he was still working as an Arlington police officer while building one of the greatest bodybuilding runs ever seen. The damage that changed everything did not start after the titles. Ronnie has said it goes back much further. He already had wear from football in college and from powerlifting when he was younger. Then came the big turning point in 1996. During a brutal squat session, he heard a loud crunch in his back and lost some strength. It was a herniated disc, the kind of injury that would stop most people cold. Ronnie did not stop. He kept training, kept lifting huge weights, kept chasing the next show, and kept winning. For about 10 years after that injury, he carried that damage through the best stretch of his career. After retirement, the body finally broke down. Ronnie has undergone more than 13 major surgeries across his spine, neck, and hips. He has had double hip replacements, chronic pain, nerve trouble, and years of rehab. He has also said that broken or faulty screws and all the hardware placed in his back made walking even harder. There were long stretches when normal movement became almost impossible. Videos and updates over the years have shown him struggling to stand, using crutches, riding in a wheelchair, and still finding a way to train in some form, because walking away from the gym was never really in him. Even after everything, he has said he would do it all again. Number 10. Justyn Vicky. A bar came down on Justyn Vicky's neck, and a man whose life was built around strength was dying before the set was even over. Justyn was not just another guy filming gym clips for attention. In Bali, he had built a name for himself as a bodybuilder, a personal trainer, and a fitness influencer who pushed people to work harder and believed they could change their lives. He coached at the Paralyzed Bali.
The fitness community is mourning the loss of Justyn Vicky, who died after breaking his neck during a gym visit earlier this month. He was 33.
Posted workouts and motivation online, and built an audience of around 30,000 followers on Instagram. That is what makes what happened next so brutal. On July 15, 2023, Justyn was training at the Paralyzed Bali gym in Sanur. He was attempting a squat press with 210 kilograms on the bar, about 463 pounds, with a spotter behind him. He drops down into the squat position, tries to rise, and cannot get back up. He falls into a seated position, and as he goes down, the bar crashes onto the back of his neck. The spotter loses balance and falls with him. The injury was catastrophic. His neck was broken, and the damage caused critical compression to nerves connected to his heart and lungs. He was rushed to the hospital, taken into emergency surgery, and died soon after. He was 33 years old.
According to the Daily Mail, the 33-year-old was training at the Paralyzed Bali gym in Sanur, Indonesia, when a barbell weighing more than 450 pounds fell on his neck.
Number 9. Ranieri Lopes Filho. A single tearing sound ended 10 years of work for Ranieri Lopes Filho, and turned one brutal leg press into the moment his whole season fell apart. Ranieri was 31 and deep into bodybuilding, not casually training for fun, but pushing with the focus of someone preparing for the stage. He had spent about 10 years building himself in the sport and was training for a competition scheduled for May 2025, with his body already under strain. This was not random gym showing off. This was contest prep, pressure, and the kind of heavy work athletes convince themselves they have to survive if they want to keep moving forward. Then came the set that stopped everything. At a gym in Teresina, in the Brazilian state of Piauí, Ranieri loaded 400 kilograms onto a leg press, about 882 pounds. He sat down for his second attempt and drove into the weight. Then his right leg gave way. A loud tearing sound cut through the gym. He grabbed his knee, threw his head back, and screamed. The video is hard to watch because there is no mystery about what just happened. You can hear it. You can see the panic hit all at once. Doctors later confirmed a ruptured quadriceps tendon, one of the worst lower body injuries a strength athlete can suffer. Gym staff rushed over, stripped the weight off the machine, and helped free him before he was taken to the hospital. He underwent surgery the next day. The recovery was ugly from the start. Ranieri was told to keep his leg fully straight for 3 weeks and not bend the knee at all. He was also told to begin physiotherapy, including electrical stimulation, and to expect months before normal walking. Light training was not expected until late in the year, and that was only if recovery went well. Number 8. Sophie Butler. At 21, Sophie Butler went under a Smith machine for a set of squats and came out with a broken back. One slip, one falling bar, and the life she had been building disappeared almost instantly. Before that day, Sophie was all in on bodybuilding. She trained 5 to 6 days a week, meal prepped everything, and chased her physique with real discipline. This was not half-hearted fitness. The gym shaped her week, her routine, and the way she saw herself. She loved training every day. She was building a body on purpose and living like someone who meant it. Then came July 2017. Sophie was doing squats on a Smith machine when a loaded bar fell onto her back. The weight was around 70 kilograms, about 154 pounds. That one moment shattered everything. Her back broke. She was rushed into emergency surgery, and when she woke up, she was paralyzed from the waist down. The damage did not stop in the operating room. Sophie spent 4 months in the hospital and another month in rehab. Then came the part people do not see in the clips and photos. Depression hit. PTSD hit. The gym life she had built so carefully was suddenly gone. And for a while, it felt like that part of her was gone too. But Sophie found her way back. She learned how to train from where she was. At first, she used free weights and cable machines for upper body and core work. Over time, she settled into training 3 to 4 times a week and rebuilt strength in a different way. She also became much more than a woman known for a tragic accident. Sophie grew into a strong voice for disability, access, and adaptive fitness, using her platform to show that strength does not disappear just because life changes shape. Number 7. Charla Peterson. One normal set of squats blew Charla Peterson's life apart. She was not a reckless beginner chasing a stunt. She was a wife, a mother of 5, and a serious fitness woman in her 50s who had finally turned years of training into bodybuilding ambition. By then, the gym was no side hobby. Charla had built her days around training, food, and progress. She had waited a long time to chase bodybuilding, and once she started, she went all in. She was not just lifting weights, she was building the version of herself she had wanted for years. Then came July 13th, 2023. Charla was doing back squats on a Smith machine when everything changed in a second. Her L1 vertebra burst. Part of it went into her spinal cord. In her own words, her back exploded, and she was paralyzed from the waist down. One leg day split her life in 2. Before that rep, she was preparing for more bodybuilding shows. After it, she was dealing with a spinal cord injury and a body that would never move the same way again. A lot of stories end there. Hers did not. Charla threw herself into wheelchair bodybuilding. She did not fade away from the sport or let the injury turn her into a memory. She adapted fast, learned a new division, and came back with a kind of drive that made the whole thing even more unbelievable. In early 2024, she won first place in women's wheelchair bodybuilding at the Arnold Amateur. A few months later, she won first again at NPC Wheelchair Nationals and earned her IFBB Pro card. Then the comeback got even bigger. She was later approved to guest pose at Olympia, putting her on one of the biggest stages in the sport. Number 6. Marcelle Mancuso. A simple inverted sit-up failed, the strap snapped, and when Marcelle Mancuso hit the floor, she woke up unable to move her entire body. Marcelle Mancuso was living the kind of life that looked healthy, active, and disciplined from the outside. She trained regularly, cared about her body, and treated the gym as part of her routine. In São José do Rio Preto, Brazil, fitness was woven into her everyday life. She was young, active, and committed. The kind of person who walked into the gym expecting a workout, not a disaster. Then a basic ab exercise turned into a nightmare. In January 2016, Marcelle was doing an inverted sit-up, an exercise where your body is tilted, and your head is closer to the floor while your legs are held in place. It looked simple enough, but as she went through the movement, the strap holding her legs failed. She later said the trainer tried to hold her, but could not stop the fall. She crashed backward and slammed the back of her head onto the floor. The damage was brutal. Marcelle broke the 5th vertebra in her neck. Other vertebrae were also displaced and crushed, and the injury compressed her spinal cord. Doctors diagnosed her with tetraplegia. She could not move her arms. She could not move her legs. A normal training day had suddenly become a fight over whether she would ever move on her own again. What makes her story so disturbing is how ordinary the moment was. There was no giant squat, no massive deadlift, no wild stunt for attention. She was doing abs, that is it, and her whole body shut down. But Marcelle's story did not stop there. She began physical therapy and got signs of movement back. After a month, she took her first steps with support. After 4 months, her leg strength started improving. After 5 months, the fainting and dizziness she felt while walking began to ease. By 6 months, she said she could walk without her legs shaking. She later returned to an active life and got back to the gym. Number 5. Ryan Crowley. Ryan Crowley lowered nearly 500 pounds onto an incline bench, and by the time the bar came back up, his pec was gone. In Dubai with the camera rolling, he brought down 220 kilograms, about 485 pounds. Then everything blew apart at once. The muscle popped, his chest caved in, and he jumped off the bench in panic. This was not some slow injury building in the background for months. It was one lift, one snap, and 1 second where a young bodybuilder's dream suddenly looked finished. Before that clip, Crowley was not just some unlucky guy who went viral for the wrong reason. He had been training since his teens, did his first bodybuilding show at 16, and had already built his whole life around the sport. He described bodybuilding as his identity and his purpose. People knew him as Big Rig because he was already absurdly huge while still young, and he was trying to turn that freaky size into a real bodybuilding career, not just internet attention. The scene itself is why people still remember it. In March 2021, Crowley was in the middle of an incline bench session with Larry Wheels spotting behind him. He had already pushed through a brutal set with 180 kilograms, about 397 pounds, and then made the jump to 220. The weight came down slowly. Then the pec gave way. He bolted upright, grabbed himself, and the clip instantly became one of the most infamous bench videos in bodybuilding circles. Later, he put the damage into the clearest words possible. He said he had completely torn his pec tendon off the bone. The injury was even worse than that. Surgeons later had to reconstruct the pec because the damage ran through both the tendon and the muscle itself. After the tear, he was taken to King's College Hospital in Dubai and stayed overnight waiting for surgery. He later said the operation happened about 30 hours after the accident and lasted around 4 hours because the damage was far worse than first expected. The physical pain was only part of it. He called that day life-changing, and the emotional fallout stayed with him long after the hospital. Even later, he was still talking about how hard it had been to feel normal again, but the injury did not erase him. By 2024, he had fought his way back onto a bodybuilding stage, taking second in men's bodybuilding at the NPC Daytona Beach Classic and placing 8th in men's bodybuilding at the NPC Amateur Olympia in Las Vegas. Number 4. Matt Kroc. Matt Kroc said the quad tear sounded like blue jeans ripping apart, and it happened while he was still grinding through a 545-pound squat set. Before that tear, Matt Kroc was already one of the most feared strength athletes in the gym world. He was a former U.S. Marine, a world record powerlifter, and a national caliber bodybuilder, which is a rare mix by itself. In 2006, he won the Arnold Classic WPO middleweight title. By 2009, he had set the all-time world record in the 220-pound class with a 2,551-pound total built from a 1,003-pound squat, a 738-pound bench, and an 810-pound deadlift. He was also the man whose name became attached to Kroc rows, one of the most famous dumbbell row variations in lifting culture. The injury happened in 2008 with the camera rolling during a raw squat set of 545 pounds for 10 reps. That alone tells you what kind of person this was. Most lifters cannot even walk out that weight. Kroc was still driving through rep after rep when the quad finally tore. The collapse looked like a body that had taken more punishment than almost anyone could handle, suddenly reaching its limit. Kroc did not vanish into old injury footage and become a warning sign. He came back and put together one of the strongest rebounds in hardcore lifting. In 2009, after the quad tear that looked career-ending, he posted that all-time 220-pound class world record and kept building his name in both strength sports and bodybuilding. Number 3. Larry Wheels. Larry Wheels went for one more Atlas stone, and instead of another highlight clip, he got a bicep tear that stopped one of the strongest men on the internet in his tracks. The moment is brutal because it looks so simple. He moves toward the last stone in the medley, starts the lift, then suddenly jerks away in pain. A man known for making crazy weight look normal gets shut down by one movement that was supposed to prove just how strong he was. By then, Larry was already a huge name. He had set world records in powerlifting, built a massive online following, and become one of the few lifters people believed could cross into almost any strength sport and still look dangerous. He was not some beginner trying to play strongman for clicks. He had already won his first bodybuilding show in 2018, later won an NPC Classic Physique overall title in 2023, and by 2025 had earned an IFBB Pro card. The whole appeal of Larry Wheels was that he looked like a guy who could do everything. The injury came in 2019 during strongman prep, with the camera on and the Atlas Stone medley underway. Larry went after the final stone, and the reaction told the story before any doctor ever could. He instantly pulled back and grabbed at the arm. Later, when he posted the clip, he called it a torn bicep and said, "The tendon seemed to still be attached. The fallout came fast." The injury ruled him out of Giants Live in London, and later reports linked that same biceps injury to him, missing the 2019 World Deadlift Championships as well. Larry handled it the way people expected him to, with blunt honesty. He posted that it had been years since he had gotten hurt and said it was about time it happened. Later, he warned people not to mess around with injuries that seem small, because they can be worse than they look. Number 2. Nick Wright. Nick Wright said the 430-pound bench felt light when he unracked it, and then his pec tore before the set even had a chance to start. Before that tear, Nick was a lot more than just a YouTube guy with a camera in the gym. He had started bodybuilding young, built a real following around physique training, and spent years documenting the grind in a way a lot of lifters grew up watching. He had already been competing and training seriously since his teens, and later pushed himself hard into powerlifting too. On top of the bodybuilding side, he had videos built around a 600-pound squat, a 425-pound bench, and a 650-pound deadlift. This happened to somebody who genuinely lived under the bar and built his identity around getting bigger and stronger. He unracks the weight, and at first, it feels good. Then the pec goes. That is the sick part of heavy benching. It can feel perfect until the exact second it does not. The timing made it even worse because he was living in that overlap where bodybuilding and powerlifting meet. He wanted size, but he also wanted big strength numbers. The pec tear landed right where those goals crash into each other. The part that stayed with him was not just the bruise, the pain, or the rehab. He posted follow-up recovery videos, including a full pec tear rehab update, so people could see that the injury did not end when he left the bench. He later said he was back to training within about a month, and the pec was physically healed in around 6 months. But the bigger damage was in his head. Even much later, he said the confidence never fully came back. The muscle can heal, but the fear of hearing or feeling that same pop again can stay much longer. He also later spoke openly about the PS injury as part of why he stepped away from powerlifting. It was not just one bad day on the bench, it changed the direction of his training life. Number 1. Calum von Moger. Calum von Moger tried to curl 400 pounds in Gold's Gym, and the moment his left arm gave way, Arnold 2.0 stopped looking untouchable. Chris Bumstead was right there, and the camera was rolling. Before that injury, Calum was already a major bodybuilding name from Australia, a rising physique star with real wins behind him. He won Junior Mr. Universe in 2011, then won WFF Mr. Universe in 2014 and 2015. Fans were calling him Arnold 2.0 because he looked so much like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that image only got bigger when he later played young Arnold in the film Bigger. By late 2017, he looked like one of those bodybuilders who could turn hype into a huge future. Then came the curl. In late November 2017, inside Gold's Gym Venice, Calum and Chris Bumstead loaded up a ridiculous barbell and tried to muscle it up for the camera. The weight was around 400 pounds. As he strained through the lift, his left biceps tendon gave way. Calum later admitted that he had not properly warmed up before doing it. 1 second, he was showing off with the kind of weight that makes people stare. Next, he was clutching his arm and realizing he had just done real damage on camera. Afterward, he posted the clip himself and warned people not to copy the mistake. The fallout was ugly. Surgery came a little over a week later, and within about a month, the difference between his arms was obvious. His left side had shrunk badly. He said his upper body did not pop the same way anymore, and the damage did not stop at the arm. He talked about how the injury changed the look of his chest and back too, which matters a lot more in bodybuilding than most people realize. He could barely move the arm properly, let alone flex it the way he used to. But the stubborn side of Calum showed up fast. Just 3 days after surgery, he was back in the gym, training his legs. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.